Hello YouTube, how's it going? 6-Speed Dakota here. And today's task in the garage is we're going to be working on the 350 Wolverine again. Today's task, we're going to adjust the valves. I figured because I'm off school for a little while, may as well do something with my free time. So I've already had the two 450s out. I'm sure you guys haven't seen them. There they are right there. The gray one is an 07 450 4x4. And the blue one there's an 06 450 4x4. And this one here is my 07 350 two-wheel drive. And she doesn't get used all that much because we usually just take the 450s. And usually I got a pack 3 in my truck. So this one doesn't get used all that often compared to the other ones. So afterwards we'll do an old start, cold start on it. It's about 5 degrees outside here in the British Columbia Lower Mainland. But since this thing hasn't been running in about 3 weeks, it's going to be a bit of an old start, cold start anyway. And I got my 110cc Chinese-made ATV outside. It's actually my brother's. We'll do an old start, cold start on that too. Right now over there, I have the battery on the charger. You see the clamp sticking up. You don't need a trickle charger for these little batteries, I find. All you need is to just put them on the regular charger for maybe about a half hour or so. Just make sure you pay attention to it. So today we're going to adjust the valves. Stuff you need: your basic set of hand tools. We're going to ratchet, a couple extensions. We're going to need a big flat blade screwdriver. I like to have a pair of needle nose pliers just in case. A couple of wrenches. I believe it's a 10mm wrench for the adjuster. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out when we get inside. Your basic socket set you need there too. And I got a set of Allen bits there, which you're going to need to take the plastic off. So make sure you have those. And finally, the most important part is our Blue Point feeler gauge. This will help us to adjust the valves. Now, we have to adjust the valves in these things approximately once, maybe every year about. And the reason we have to is because this has a solid lifter cam. It doesn't have the forced oiling up in the head like a normal overhead cam motor would have with the hydraulic slack adjusters. So these valves have to be adjusted every so often. So I like to do them about once a year. It's making a loud click, 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 click noise when it's running. And I know it's not a spun bearing. That I've already looked into that. So basically, there's two spots that have to be adjusted. You got the intake valve on top, and in behind here, I don't know if you can see it real well, but right in there is the exhaust, right up in there. Now what you got to do is you got to take all the plastic off. You don't really have to take this off, you can just get at it from the other side. So, but we do have to take the fuel tank off, and that's always a fun task. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the seat off, actually. So there's a little lever right there, we'll push back. Pull that guy off. It's a little dirty in here, but not too bad. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the fuel tank out. We're going to start by removing this guy right here. So this is the fuel shutoff. It's got 3 positions. It's in on right now. So that right there is off, straight left, and straight up is reserve for when you start running out of fuel. You don't want to keep it in reserve if you don't have to, because then that could allow crud in the bottom of the tank to get into the carburetor, and then you'll really be stuck. Alright, so now the next step is we're going to move this lever. Alright, so using a number 1 Phillips screwdriver, my fancy snap-on one, just get inside there and you can feel it click onto the screw. Just loosen it, loosen it, loosen it until it finally comes out. And you'll feel when it comes out, and then you just gotta give it a bit of a wiggle. Doesn't want to come out. There we go. And there you go. Next thing we gotta do is we gotta remove the fuel line from the carburetor. So there's just this little mini, there it is, hose clamp right there. You can use needle nose pliers. It's just easy to squeeze it. So we pull that off, and then there we go. Try not to drip too much fuel. We'll just kind of set that aside for now. Now you have four, I believe it's 4 bolts that hold it on. This guy here, one on the other side, and these two here. There it is. That one there, and that one there. And that holds this chunk of plastic on. So, using our Allen bits here, so what we'll do is we'll take our socket extension. Ultimately, if you can change your own oil and follow instructions, this really isn't too difficult of a job. You just kind of got to know what you're doing. And the procedure is fairly similar for a Honda or for anything else really, but the exact steps are going to vary. Also, I'm not 100% sure on the clearances. They may vary between year to year. But the usual place you can find them is right here. Your exhaust and your intake. Valve lash in millimeters. Don't do it in inches. You're really going to run into a problem. So now that that one's out, take the top two out over here. Of course, it's a different size. Oh, there we go. It is the same size. I stand corrected. So this is just going to gain us access to the intake valve. Okay, so once you got this bolt out here, and this bolt out here, and this one here, and that one there, but my plastic tab is broken off because this thing's had the hell beaten out of it. The next thing we gotta do is we gotta take out these guys here, and one right there. So I'll get those out, and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, now that we got all the bolts out here and there, now what we want to do is remove the fuel filler cap. Just take it and just pull that line out of there. It just sticks into that little hole in that cover. Then I'll just leave it there for now. What we're going to do is just pull up on both sides like that. Just kind of tug on it just a little bit here. You gotta make sure it clears that little chunk of that holds the seat in. And make sure it unclips itself. There we go. Sometimes it's easier if you just pull that guy out. Come on. Oh geez, everything's fighting today. There we go. That just clips on there like that. It's not a big deal. There we go. All you have to do is just pull back on it. There we go. And that's it. Now you may wonder why I have the bolt in there. Well, that tab had broken off a while back, and I actually tried to glue gun it back on, as you can probably see there. And obviously it didn't hold. The amount of beating this gets from the rest of my family. So now, fuel filler cap on to minimize the stench in the garage. And now you have 4 bolts right here and there, and this one here, and another one right there on the other side. Now what you can do, now there are 2 little sleeves in between there. Do not lose these. These will fall out, I can almost guarantee it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 10mm socket. You have to use metric because this is Yamaha, it's from Japan. And oh, come on. There you go. You could use air tools to speed it up. I don't really like my air ratchet. It's very, very loud. So once we get all 4 bolts out, we'll come back for the next step.